I, 32 male, have been living in DB for 1 year and just discovered my wife, 31 female, is having an affair. So it's been a year since my wife and I had sex. Prior to then, the frequency and quality had been declining, and the last time was a year ago. It's interesting how a person can remember their first time well. I never believed I'd be able to remember the last without knowing it was the last and all the agony that comes with it. We've been together for almost 10 years and married for 2, and I hadn't seen any problems with our sex and intimate lives until about a year and a half ago. I couldn't complain before or after the marriage, since my wife wanted to try new positions, and not long after the marriage, she wanted to have sex at least twice a week. Everything seemed to be in order. Everything changed in the latter months of our bedroom's existence. The frequency dropped to once a month, and there was plainly no effort from her. It was simply chore sex. Till it died. Around the same time, she gave me an ultimatum concerning a project I needed to accomplish and deliver linked to my old field of business, with the penalty of having to pay back many thousand euros if I didn't do it by the end of the year 2018, or she would file for divorce. This ultimatum forced me to pull my head out of my buttocks and go to work on that assignment. I did that for a few months every night after work and house duties till approximately 2 a.m., while waking up at 6:45 a.m. the following day. And the wife was extremely supportive at first, often checking on me and giving an encouragement kiss and slash or goodnight kiss before going to bed. Of course, my working on that project whenever I could led to the gradual feeling that we were drifting apart, while she was becoming more engaged with phone calls and messaging her work friends. On one occasion, we were spending time with each other watching a movie when she interrupted it to answer a call from a workmate that lasted about an hour and a half. I should have known better back then. So you can see how things were progressing. She stopped checking on me, kissing me, and displaying any evidence of love after those 2 months. I missed those non-sexual closeness moments, those touches, kisses, jokes, and everything else that people do to their so, and I attempted to acquire them whenever I could, until she created a fight because she felt I was smothering her. That's when I realized I'd been after her love and pleading for her affection, and I took the choice to stop it and stop pursuing her affection. I'd already given up on physical intimacy. At this point, I stopped working on that project because I felt I had hit a brick wall and couldn't go any further. The feeling of being stuck and missing all the affection and support from my wife was taking a heavy toll on my emotional well-being, and I began to have suicidal thoughts, to the point where I had already discarded several methods and had already chosen one to go forward, and was thinking about what messages to leave to my family and how, so I stopped. Around December of last year, she began going out with her work buddies, male and female, as far as I know, which she had never done before, not even with her other set of friends from her prior job, whom I knew and with whom we used to hang out. It started as a one-time occurrence, but over time she began to go and have the occasional afternoon snack with her friends. She said sometimes it was female friend X, other times it was female friend Z, other times it was a group of coworkers to work on a project. On weekends, while I stayed at home longing for her affection and dying for us to do something together. This last bit is what bugs me, not that she has friends she hangs out with. The new year arrives and the months pass with no good change. The relationship between the two of us remains same. There is no love, no closeness, and she is always shouting at me for the most ridiculous stuff. When I go to see my parents on weekends, she never comes with me. Occasionally she goes to see her parents, but most of the time she stays at home. She continues to go out with her business buddies on occasion, coming late or early in the morning. Choose your preference, and on some of those instances, I discover that she has left her wedding ring on the bedside table. Unfortunately, I never seriously confronted her about it. When I mentioned it, she said she had forgotten and continued to forget regularly. Her addiction to WhatsApp chatting is worsening. She begins calling or receiving calls from the same male coworker, let's call him John, at inappropriate hours, i.e. at 23:00 or even 23:30, when she has always gone to sleep no later than 22:15. For example, if I called my mother at around 22:00 just to say everything was fine, which never took more than 5 minutes, she would yell at me because it was too late to call anyone and she wanted to sleep. Her excuse, those late calls, was that on one occasion, they spoke and laughed until almost 2 a.m. on a weekday. I was so stupid. She declines invites to supper from our friends throughout the week because she has to go to bed early. Feel free to reread the preceding paragraph if anything doesn't sound right. And I, as a nice husband, don't go without her. She constantly appears to be in a foul mood around me and nearly always responds negatively to what I say or ask, or claims that I always ask foolish questions. Whatever I do that doesn't suit what she believes is the perfect way to do something is inherently bad, and I'm an idiot for doing it differently than she would, even if she does it the way I did it in the first place a few days later. If I do anything incorrect by mistake, her response is as if I purposefully triggered an extinction-level catastrophe. However, if it's her doing it, it's simply a shrug and a chuckle. By the way, I believe this later way of handling accidents is the correct one. She's occasionally in a good mood, not good enough for affection. That ship has sailed and never returned, but it always coincides with times when she needs my help with something. Are you keeping notes? Now, I know I should have, but I was so dumb, blind, and fell for all her manipulations that no alarms were ringing or I chose to ignore them. She is constantly concerned about me obtaining her phone for her and shouts at me if I move or suggest that I do so. And she is constantly carrying her phone with her, something she did not do before things began to go wrong. Around the middle of the year, she tells me she's going surfing with a group of work pals, and that she's been going once a month for the last 3 months, this being the 3rd time. That completely astonished me because she is constantly quite chilly, and she only feels comfortable when the temperature rises beyond 30 degrees Celsius. She isn't at ease in the water since she believes she isn't a competent swimmer, never shown curiosity or interest in undertaking that activity, despite the fact that I did it once and liked it, and we discussed it throughout our dating days. I'd never heard of someone doing it before. Do you want to learn some interesting facts? I find a pair of new panties she never wore with me when hanging our laundered clothing to dry. I also discover new bikini bits that I'd never seen before, which she utilized for the first time, as far as I know, on those surfing competitions. Now that I think about it, I don't believe I saw them again, not even on our beach days. When I said that it's a nice pastime that I'd love doing as well and offered to join them the next time, she began making reasons for me not to attend. Later, we discussed purchasing lessons just for the 2 of us to attend. But when the time came, she just refused. Let's fast forward a little. We go on vacation, and we happen to be celebrating 10 years of marriage while we're gone. On our day, I suggest we go out to dinner since it's not an average day, but she rejects without mentioning the special occasion, which I didn't tell her when she asked. We have supper in the apartment like every other night during our trip, and I conceal a gift I bought for her before we left. She never discovers it, and I have to inform her the following morning that she slept with something weird beneath her pillow. She opens the gift and says she loves it, and that's all there is to it. Nothing else was spoken. No inquiry concerning the cause behind the gift. Nothing. She seemed to have completely forgotten what day it was, much alone its significance, which is really strange given that she is the one who is often pushing for these kinds of events. Of course, this made me experience a slew of unwelcome emotions and completely wrecked me on the inside. Take a look at some of the comments. First and foremost, please accept my heartfelt condolences. Get your mind on straight now. Allowing your emotions to get the better of you will only make problems worse. Concentrate on number 1. Go work out right now and channel some of that emotion towards bettering yourself. Get your vengeance by having a wonderful life for yourself. Contact a lawyer. Gather the proof. Don't go up to her. Create an exit strategy. Find someone who will treat you with the respect you deserve. I'll need to find out how to handle her mother. According to the texts I've seen, there's a chance she's aware of everything, but I'm not convinced, and they might simply be taunting one another with that notion. In terms of workplace misbehavior, I'm not sure whether they have a policy against sometimes stroking each other's buttocks and slash or fooling about in the restroom. But to be honest, I'm not going to waste my time or energy on it right now. Thank you for your help. Stay tuned for next part.